Hey guys, Mr. Barnes here again, bringing you another delicious math video. This one on the quotient. I never spell quotient right. Let's see if I get it right. On the quotient rule. So this is probably one of the derivative rules that my students find the hardest. So I try to give them a little trick to try and remember how to do it. So I'm going to show you my little trick. So if you first of all, when you use the quotient rule, if you had a function like this, y is equal to, say, e to the x divided by sine of x. So if you're dividing two different functions, so you have an e to the x function and then a trig function. So what I usually tell my students to do is just, when they're starting out, write it like this. So f prime, f prime, and then g prime. Because if you remember what the quotient rule is, and I should write that out again, it's simply f prime times g minus g prime times f all over g squared. So the reason why I get my students to write it out like this is, you'll see in a second. So my f is e to the x, and the derivative of e to the x is just e to the x. And my g is sine, so whatever's on the bottom is g. And the derivative of sine is cos x. So the reason why I get my students to write it out like this is because it allows them to never mess up the order. So I always tell them, start from the bottom, multiply across the top, and then do the same thing. Start from the other bottom and multiply. So that way you always get the order right. F prime g minus g prime f. So a lot of times you'll see students get these two backwards and they end up with like some opposite signs or things not canceling correctly. So I get y prime is equal to e to the x times sine x. So that's my first. And then minus, and again, it doesn't really matter what you put first in terms of cos x times e to the x. Like I could have put the e to the x times cos first. That's not what I'm really care about, but I don't want these backwards overall. And divide it by this guy right here, so sine x squared. So there's not much I can do to simplify this. I can take an e to the x out on the top, and I get left with sine x minus cos x all over sine squared x. And there it is. That's a really simple quotient rule example, but that's how I remember it. Write it like this, and then you can do a little cross, and then just remember that you're subtracting, and then you have the square on the bottom. You have the g squared. Let's try another, a fairly straightforward one. Let's try x squared over, I don't know, cos of x. So again, not a very complicated one, but still, if you're learning, it is complicated. And then, so we have y prime, so we'll start with, so my f is x squared, my f prime is 2x, my g is cos, my g prime is negative sine x. So again, it's just a matter of doing your cross. So start from the bottom left, and then that way, so that way you never mess up the order. So 2x times cos x minus x squared times negative sine x. So I did reverse the order this time. The only thing we have to be careful with is this guy right here. I'll divide it by cos squared x. So I have 2x cos x, and then that negative and that guy makes a plus. So I get x squared sine x. I'll divide it by cos squared x. And there you go. That's another simple example of the quotient rule. I could factor out something here, but I don't really think it's worth it. So I hope this little video helped you if you're struggling with what the quotient rule was. I'm going to give you some more complicated examples in some other videos. Alright, thanks for watching.